We'll just talk about them when we get to the trustee reports. Is Kennelly on?
He is.
No, he's not on.
Oh, there you are. It's the voice of love.
Negative.
He fell asleep.
So we're just waiting to connect to YouTube or?
The stream is not working, the Zoom is working, so it may have to be posted after the fact.
Okay. And we're recording on Zoom?
It is.
All right. I call this meeting to order at 7:34. If everyone rise to the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
America, to the republic, which it stands, one nation, indivisible,
And justice for all.
All right, may I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Hoff.
Here.
Trustee Thomas.
Here.
Trustee Schatzberger. Here. Trustee McGuire. Trustee Diatley. Trustee Cannelli.
Here.
May I have a excuse me, a motion to approve remote attendance by electronic means for trustee Kennelly?
So
Sorry, actually, let me rephrase. So we have 3 trustees present plus myself. That is the minimum for a physical quorum. So we do have a physical quorum. Now, may I have a motion to approve remote attendance by electronic means?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Schatzberger, seconded by Thomas. Any comments, questions, discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Trustee Hoff.
Yeah.
Trustee Schatzberger.
Yeah.
Trustee Thomas.
All in favor, no opposed, motion passes. Welcome, trustee Kennelly. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for allowing me.
All right, moving on to the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes for January 4th? Whatever it was. 5th. The motion,
What's the date?
the 5th.
So moved.
Second.
Wait, Bill Huff, was yours a motion or?
Second.
Okay, so I've got Bill Kennelly as the move, Kelly Thomas as the second. And we got the date clarified for you. Any comments, questions, or edits? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Schatzberger. Trustee Hoff.
Aye.
Trustee Cannelli.
Aye.
Trustee Thomas.
Aye. All in favor, no opposed. 2, 3, 4. Motion passes. All right, on to the president report. Melissa, if you'd please read the civility pledge.
In the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we may have different ideas for achieving that objective.
Thank you very much. There's a couple items on here. We do certainly have that big list of items that I gave to the trustees last meeting. I will address some of mine that go with that, but I'll defer that to later, just before the trustee reports, so we can kind of discuss it all as a whole. For those of you who walked in, there should be packets on the back if you're interested in following along with the list. The second item on the president report is discussion of the mobile food license for 2026. There's no action on this, but I did want to bring it to your attention because the license program ended at the end of last year. And it was our pilot program to kind of see how we wanted to work this out. We've had some feedback. Certainly, there's been a lot of great turnout for Damos barbecue. But there have been some questions about whether it technically qualifies as a food truck, if it's more of a restaurant. And just concerns about the smokers sitting out or tables. So I just wanted to start putting some of these bugs in your ears. If you have questions, please reach out to Maggie and Dan, kind of learn from their experiences, and then we'll come back at the next meeting and kind of hash out the details of times, dates, what qualifies, what doesn't. If we need if we wanted to offer 2 different types of licenses, one that's more mobile, one that's, I don't know if we could do a solitary, but yeah, we'll look into that. So, any comments or questions from the trustees at this time that you've heard from residents about the food trucks and what's going on?
A lot of positive feedback from people, just driving by and getting to stop and get the wonderful food, but, technically they are working out of a food truck. So where are the,
So
where do we,
draw the line.
yeah, Cause they do have more than just the food truck while they are at that location.
What I've heard from some people is they're concerned that it's not a mobile truck moving around with like the food there. They stop, they prepare it, people walk up and then they leave, they depart,
Right.
they don't stay to eat. I'll admit in my experience living out in Montana and then kind of traveling out west and south, you do have these more kind of stationary food trucks. They're huts, but they just don't move. So it didn't surprise me, but I do now that I've discussed it more with people who thought it should just be a singular mobile truck without the equipment there. But I would also like to make sure that we are doing what we can to support our residents so that they can contribute to the community and be a part of here. So let's think if we need to do something separate for two different types of entities. Or if, yeah, just want to put that in you guys' minds to consider.
I've
Mo-
had the same feedback. The food is good, but again, concerns that it's not a true food truck
And-
like down at, like, people have said, you know, downtown Chicago, the food trucks pull up to the curb and then they make food, they sell it out of there, and then they go on their way. So
And let me be clear, any of the comments about it, this is only from Sleepy Hollow residents. There've been no expressed concerns from West Dundee, the people who abut to the property. So it's just from Sleepy Hollow residents that I've heard anything, mostly making conversation. So, all right, and actually, I brought the ordinance along with us. No, we'll just discuss, we'll do that next time. An update on the Rainbow Water Main inquiry. I just wanted to take a moment because some trustees had raised the issue of the response in the email. And because of the nature of the email, it was addressed to the entire board. When I needed to go to respond to them, I couldn't send it to the rest of the trustees. But it also created by default an Open Meetings Act meeting. So I just wanted to address what I sent to the residents, and now all the trustees have a copy of it. It was delayed because one of the things is the time that this happened, when the wastewater service agreement changed, was literally about 1 month before the most recent one of us have taken office. I'm sorry, not the most recent. Trustee Thomas, Trustee McGuire and I, so 2.5, 3 years ago. There was a lot to double check and kind of parse out. So there are two main questions in the letter: the mandated wastewater flat rate and the meter installation for well water properties. And then a question of the possibility of connecting well water residents to the village water system as part of the water main replacement project. With respect to the wastewater flat rate, that was a contract entered into with West Dundee. Earlier on, I did indicate that there was a 5-year contract. I didn't know the ins and outs of it at the time, and discovered that the 5 years was a commitment between the village of Sleepy Hollow and the village of West Dundee for us to get into compliance for more accurate readings on the wastewaters, on our wastewater usage. But the board felt that it'd be prudent to set up an earlier timeline to make sure we're in compliance prior to the end of the contract. So in the ordinance, it would be 638 A3. It's ordinance 2023-03. It states that any owner of a property using a private well and lacking a water meter as of March 1st, 2023 must have a village provided meter installed by April 30th, 2025. In knowing that this was a small amount of residents and that it was a little frustrating, in my part as the water trustee, I kept the estimated flat rate down as low as we could to what the estimated rate was. We kept a very small cushion of about $4 between what the estimate was for the average resident and what we were charging them. And once I learned of the due date, we haven't penalized them for any tardiness at this point. There's still just one resident that we'd like to speak to about it to try and get them to comply, but it's not trying to be punitive. It's just to get compliance so that we ourselves are in compliance with the municipal contract. This is also one thing I want to say, because a few people have come up to me, asked why we were targeting well water homes. Please, again, this is not punitive. It's not a target. It's just that those who are on village water have these meters already in place. So they're just already in compliance for when this measure went through in March of 2023. Because people who are on well don't use the utilities, we needed some kind of a meter there to gauge, to best estimate it. In fact, The wastewater meter requirement and the temporary flat rate charge until installation is simply the mechanism that allows the village to measure gray water usage accurately and bill fairly for sewage services. Without a meter, we have no reliable way to determine actual wastewater volume, which is why the ordinance requires installation. The goal is consistency and compliance with the agreement that we have. As for the second part of the letter that was asking about the well to water proposal, as many of you know, this is an ongoing project. Trustee Hoff has been putting in countless hours working through the numbers. We're working on the water main project first. That in and of itself has a low minimum of $2 million price tag. And as we expand, looking at other water main replacements and then looking to add on well to water, this is going to go upwards of $7 to $10 million. It's just something we, of course, yeah, we just don't have the funds. And so that's what we're trying to do is figure out how we can fund it as well as everything else. So I've asked Trustee Hoff, and then there's another trustee with an item that they want the board to approve with the budget. I've asked them to hold off. We're going to look at everything together in a complete picture come March and April. So we have a whole idea of what all the fees are. I don't want us just approving one extra fee here for the water main project, one extra fee here, and then next thing we know, it's much larger than we anticipated without seeing the cumulative. So we still are working on trying to do well to water. There are lots of ideas. Some of the stuff that was brought before us from a resident were good suggestions. It's just unfortunate that we don't rise to the level of priority for that type of funding. Fortunately, we don't have lead in our pipes. I said it incorrectly last meeting, but the good thing is we don't have lead in our pipes, but that also means we are much lower on the prioritization list for getting any kind of grants or funded, low interest funds. And then also, even though we don't have a lot of commercial revenue because of our private residences, higher incomes, we don't qualify as being a hardship community. So that's gets rid of a lot of the more palatable financial options. And now we're looking to see if there's anything we can do with it. And we'll hear more from Trustee Hoff about that in a little bit. And a proposal has been brought up. We'll see if there's other ways we can do smaller sections if it's impossible to get everybody. But right now we need to figure out exactly what's going on with the water main and see if it can't be incorporated in with that construction. All right, that is the wastewater one. I included the original letter from 2023 in there as well as copies of the ordinance. And I'm going to hold off on the list. So we are going to move on to the clerk report.
No report.
Thank you. There's no building official tonight, but I will pop in real quick. And Trustee Thomas, if you'd like to add in, there was a planning and zoning meeting it was last week. We do not currently have a building official, so Trustee Thomas and I had an opportunity to talk with the Planning and Zoning Commission to see what they had been working on with their revisions over the code over the past few years, where they see it going moving forward. And the consensus really is we need some guidance on that, council. So we're putting our heads together to find a building official. And that's where we are on that. There's something else from here. Oh, and we discussed with them about, we did keep the 2 meetings from the last board meeting. But we did discuss with them that, yes, we could certainly cancel the second P and Z meeting of each month if we don't have a full agenda for that time. So the January one coming up next Monday has been canceled. The P and Z meeting, the next one will be in February. All right, engineer report. I spoke with Jeff Steele earlier today. There is no report. There's no report. Village administrator report.
First motion for the approval of the accounts payable in the amount of $208,543.33.
So moved.
Moved by Schottenberger, seconded by Pop. To approve the accounts payable. Any comments, questions, discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Thomas. Aye. Trustee Canelli.
Aye.
Trustee Schatzberger. Aye. Trustee Hoff.
Aye.
All in favor, no opposed, motion passes.
I was approached by a Michael Chong of Globe Life. And what he's requesting is that the village would partake in a program to offer life insurance and other insurance benefits to our employees. If there is no cost to the village. But again, it does require involvement of payroll, stuff. Mr. Chong is here, so I was gonna let him address you.
All right, thank you everyone for letting me be part of this. So my name is Michael Chong. I work for Globe Life Liberty National Division. The main thing about our voluntary program is that it creates a tax savings. And like Eugene was saying, it is at no cost to the village. A lot of villages that I work with in cities, there's a list of it in that folder that I gave. And fire protection districts too. I work directly with Rutland Fire Protection right over here. And really covering the gaps in a lot of benefits packages a lot of these entities have. And a benefits package is so important to a governing body because if you can't match the pay that the private sector has, right? So you need to have something very appealing. So it's even a small little addition like this would help you attract, retain more employees. But a little bit about our company, been around for 125 years. We have more policyholders than any other life insurance company in the United States. And we're 17 million policyholders. And we filed over $300 million of claims last year. Every employee of the village will get a couple of benefits that are no cost. Some page, except for the third page. $3,000 of accidental death coverage for every employee, $3,000 for their spouse, and $1,000 for every dependent child. And then they'll also get a card in the mail that gives them 10 to 85% off vision, hearing, chiropractic care, and prescription drugs. So everybody gets this at no cost and augments your benefits package right away. The life insurance is the main thing that we do. Further into the page. Under products, it says group term life. So our life insurance will, how it will help the village is that life insurance that you currently give to your employees is only good while they work here. So if they leave, they'll have to get some life insurance and it'll be at a higher rate because they'll be older than they are right now, right? And they'll probably have to take a health exam or something to that extent. And having this life insurance that covers them to age 100 will be the same cost and will not change after they leave. And if they're 55 or younger, they'll be done paying at the age of 65. Fully portable, meaning the employee can take it with them without change. And that's a big feature of that. A lot of people exit the workforce thinking they had life insurance while they were working. Was true, but then when they leave, it's no longer there. And so this is a solution for that problem. Going on to other health benefits that we offer. They're cover accident, critical illness, cancer. Cancer very common among, well, I guess you don't have fire department here, just a district, but accident policy covers everybody on and off the job. They'll get cash for any accident. They'll get $500 upon any small accident, them and their family, $1,000 for the hospital. The benefits keep going on, but mainly protecting would be the police department. I think that would be the most, that would find the most use out of it. But even every day, you can't control the stupidity of others, right? Driving down the road, you get hit by a car. And they're all affordable benefits too. This accident policy is $2.08. So it's 70% less expensive than our competitor Aflac. Intensive care, cancer, critical illness, they all fall in a very affordable way, less around $5 to $10 a week. They'll be able to cover them in big ways and give them cash because there's still a max out of pocket or copay that comes with health insurance. So health insurance still has a cost to use. And so having that money from these policies that costs so little will really offset that and the time off that the employee may have. They get a cash benefit regardless of whatever health insurance covers.
So if they wanted to opt into this, it's
Yes,
out of pocket. they pay for the plant.
Yes, they pay for it through payroll deduction. So when we sit down with every employee, giving them the free benefits, they also can opt into these additional policies that they pay for. And payroll deducted, and that creates a tax savings for the village, because it's payroll taxes you won't have to affect them here. So it does create a tax savings, the larger the participation is. But regardless, they get the free benefits that I described earlier.
And they can pick and choose which benefits they want to opt
Yes.
into.
It's all a la carte. They can pick, maybe they already have life insurance, they already have a whole life policy somewhere else, they have something permanent like this, then they don't need that. We'll get into other things that maybe they want the accident policy or cancer. It's all pick and choose and all with different costs. But average cost is fairly low, like I was saying.
Anything further? Any questions from the board? Okay.
So then, the question is, do we want to allow this where they would come in and speak to all of our employees, and then we would have to do the payroll reduction and stuff?
I think it's,
I think it's good.
yeah,
What's that?
I think it's a good option to
Nice
offer.
option, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So it would be the police department, all the
It'd be all employees.
officers, and then everybody in the office. What about the fire department?
That's not-
they're separate.
No, okay.
So public works as well.
Public Works.
Part-time as well.
Just like, I would assume.
It's up to the payroll administrator in terms of how much they want. Like, we defined it as 28 hours or more would be full-time. The part-timers at least can get the free benefits.
So. As long as. The village decides to enroll in the program,
Yeah,
Then
all the buildings has
everybody-
to say, just give consent. The administrator would sign off on it, sign the paperwork, and allow us to sit down with the employees, and that's it. Then the employees pick their benefits and payroll deducted. And any time that the village is unhappy with the program, you can terminate. So it's not binding in that sense.
I know we have it on the agenda under the report, but I don't have it down as a final action, so I'm thinking this needs to be a vote for next meeting. Okay. Thank you very much for presenting to us. We'll certainly address it at the next meeting. You're welcome to come back, or we can have Eugene reach back out to you.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
thank you so much.
And have some donuts that I brought.
Oh, thank you. All right,
There's two other items, but I'll wait on that until we get on the new business.
now to do business. All right, comments from the public. Deb Vernon, please.
Hi, I'm Debbie Vernon. We live at 821 Locust Drive in Sleepy Hollow. My husband Pete and I have lived here for 23 years. I'm a retired local government accountant, having worked 4 years in Wisconsin and 16 years in Illinois in Lake County. Before that, I worked in corporate accounting. I attend meetings and contribute ideas and best practices due to my professional experience. And I want to help Sleepy Hollow out because I want to be involved in my community and try to make things better if I can. I am really happy to see that there has been 4 separate Facebook posts to the Village of Sleepy Hollow, Illinois in January. 3 of them all were the 2 days before the agendas came out, which I think is really great. It's another source for the residents to see that on the Facebook, and it's Sleepy Hollow, Village of Sleepy Hollow with the Illinois on it. One was the January 8th Finance Committee meeting. The next was a January 12th Planning and Zoning meeting, and then tonight's board meeting, January 20th. The other one was a water main break notice that was done on January 9th. I thank you really for whoever started this. Pretty much, I think Jen started it with being the clerk perhaps, and Eugene, but it's really great that that has started, and I appreciate that. For the whole calendar years previously in 2025, there were 0 postings to Facebook. 2024, there was the 2 postings, And 2023, there was 3 postings. So I just want to appreciate that that's done. And I think it's something good. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Anne Marie.
Just wanted to thank Public Works crew. They've been out working incredibly hard. Last weekend was a bit of a snowfall joke and the village streets looked so much better than any of the surrounding areas. It was so easy to get around, and I know these guys were tired, but their work was not noticed. It's not appreciated, so keep doing it, guys. I know you're out plowing tonight, so.
Thank you. Billy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Billy Shinara, and I live at 401 Rainbow. I met some or most of you, or you've heard of my name. The reason why I'm here today is just to recognize and thank you guys for taking a moment to even consider the loop that we have and the concern I have. I have FOIA'd all my documents for the property. I've been living here in this community, I feel like forever, because I've been looking for property for over 15 years in this area. I lived in Algonquin for most of my time. But I decided that Sleepy Hollow was the place I really would like to live and reside for the rest of my life. And I purchased a gorgeous home. It was beautiful. And I know Trustee Thomas, you've been there, and a few of you guys, Courtney and everybody else. I love the community. I love my home. I love everything about it. That's why I found the home that I wanted to live for the rest of my life here. I do encourage anybody that's really working on the main funding bill to really take a close look at the FOIA and the documents of this property. This property was built approximately in 1994. It's one of the youngest homes that was built there. And as we know, and if you don't know, my well is 42 feet in depth. And if you did your research and you looked around and you did just your homework, the average well in Sleepy Hollow and in King County is between 100 and 300 feet. And that's incredible if we can get there. However, as I'm looking at where I'm at, there's some considerations that have to take place. So have no problem with the option of digging or going in a little deeper, but I might not be able to because of the shallowness that I'm at, where I'm at. My next door neighbor has a well that's 150 feet, 175 feet. So there could be a possibility, and I'm doing a little more digging, along with Jeff Steele stopping by my property and doing a walkthrough, and also looking at the location of where the main pipe is that ends in that area, which if you guys all have been following Bill, it's around Thoroughbred and then into Sleepy Hollow. So my next door neighbor has city water. And I have a lot of testing of water. It's really bad. It's pretty much yellow. I did take a picture and I just want to just share it with you and give it to you. You can keep it and just, utilize it as you please. But this is my utility room, and I have probably 3 to 4 softeners along with shock. I use full shock, literally in my water, along with salt and other pieces of utilities in there that is running the water in my property right now. And for health conditions, myself and my husband, we need clean water, and I don't believe our water is safe at all. That is why I'm here today. I listen to you guys online every meeting. I'm following you guys. I was here somewhere about September, October, met with Bill and Eugene and Courtney to talk about opportunity for the whole village. And there are many volunteers that would be willing to come and help in any way. One of them that I see that will be opportunity is our website. You spend a little, you make more. Okay, and I'm just recommending that just because I'm in marketing. And I know the possibilities that you could earn not only with the residents, but small businesses within our area that will pay a little money just to be part of the village and their website where they can publicize their businesses, and it could be quite a few dollars. That's just one example, but back to where I am, thankful that you guys are considering this, but I want to raise the concern of the water itself. And I have testing, I have that, it's really bad. If you look at one of the sides of the softener where the iron is, you could literally see the filter itself right here, how rusted it is. How much we clean and it still continues. So it's really bad. Regarding the ordinance of the, and I have just probably a few seconds now. I do have a pool and I built a pool, and that's not wastewater. When I put water in my pool, it's not waste. So I'm asking the village to consider the additional meter for the pools that are in there, because we don't waste it. It's not gonna go through the waste, but it's gonna be the usage that I have. So I think someone is, I want to just mention one more other person that we need to recognize, and that's Bill, that's on the video here. He's been guiding me throughout this whole process. He's very empathetic, and he understands the concern and the safety concern of my water. And he's the only one that raised his hand to continue to help me try to figure out what I'm going to do. So any recommendation from the trustees, chief, anybody else that can help me through this, that would be great. My next step right now is I've been reading the FOIA and the documents, and I see some concerns regarding the dig itself and how far they dug. So I'm continuing to read, but I'm asking the trustees to take a look at my FOIA and look at all my documents and see if you see any kind of concerns that you may want to address and help me resolve this issue. Thank you very much, everybody, including our friends here.
Two quick things to respond to. There are some discussions, we're already taking into consideration pools or large uses of water and how that will be played with. So we're working on that. And then, oh, the FOIA that you were talking about, was that an electronic or a physical?
It was,
file that was given to you?
It was a copy, just a hard copy, yes,
Okay.
a hard copy. And it was the old man or the young man that used to work here as I think the clerk.
So we don't have records of we have records of things that have been FOIA'd, but we don't actually get those reports. Is it just your building file?
Yep, it
Okay.
is. It's just that simple. If you
I
go
wanted to make sure that.
Yeah,
we're looking at the same
and
thing.
there's additional information that I did reach out to Kane County because they are responsible for the permit and the validation of that. And I'm working with a lady named Erin there. And some of the concerns was also the septic, which is the lift station. It's not necessarily a septic, but it's a lift station where the waste goes through the city water that's connected to that area. That is 15 feet away from my well. And whether it's okay to have it or not, or borderline, it's still concerning that a lift station sits 12 to 15 feet away from the well. And that concerns me too. So we're trying to investigate and make sure that that's safe. All right. Thank you.
All right, and we have John Florence, please.
I originally was just gonna talk about some service club stuff, but I wrote down a bunch of notes on well water, so why not?
You got 5 minutes.
Oh,
4:47.
service club, for those who didn't know, I'm once again the president, because nobody else would do it. So, we had our planning meeting on Sunday, and, two things kind of jumped out. One is a lot of people who are not in the service club have really stepped up to help us with stuff. A lot of people couldn't be there. Courtney did stop by. The thing that jumped out probably at her, and it did at me when I put it together, you know, everyone knows us for the 4 events, sometimes 5 events that we do. But when we listed out all the tasks that we do for the year, I think it's almost a full 4 pages of stuff going on, and it's pretty intensive. It's not a bad thing. It just means we're gonna try and plan a little more and do things a little more proactive ahead of time. But it also means that, you know, we're gonna need help in specific areas. And, you know, I will say that unlike in years past, all the trustees here have been more than willing to help out. You know, everyone in this room, Bill, you know, Bill was in the service club. The service club almost went bankrupt when he left because he was so strong in there. So anyway, we have kind of 3 things coming up this year that we don't talk about a lot. We have the gala that's being put together. I'm gonna let Kelly talk about that because she took a bunch of notes on it. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure we're doing the farmer's market again. I hadn't heard anything, but I'm pretty sure that'll happen. And then we have an event that not a lot of people know about coming up, probably 2-3 months. A pine card derby at the VFW hall. And you can think of it as the same as the Boy Scout Pinewood Derby, except this is for adults and there are adult appropriate beverages along with it. So it's a lot of fun. A lot of people come up from like as far away as Naperville and Aurora and the south suburbs, and they bring the cars that they built with their dad in the 50s and the 60s, and then they win. So it's and a good thing it's not about the winning, because I would be bummed because I never won. So that's coming up. It'll be at the VFW hall. We usually do it on Saturday afternoon. It's a lot of fun. I got 2 minutes left. I wanted to say one quick thing about wells. Most everyone here knows I'm on a well. I've been pushing as hard as anyone about, you know, extending the mains. I totally understand the financial constraints and, you know, it is what it is. One thing I've been tossing around and I think I'm gonna move forward on is we have 157 households. It's a number I always hear that are on wells. But for the most part, we don't have any objective data on that. It's mostly just anecdotal, you know, how deep mine is, how deep Billy's is, you know, and, you know, we kind of talk about it as the people from the stories we hear and the people we know. I'm gonna move forward with trying to put together like a small survey to look at things like if you're on a well, how deep is your well? How old is your well? Have you had your well tested? How long ago? And then if people are willing to share their test results, pull all that together so we would have at least a set of data to talk from. One thing I would not do though is if people are willing to give all this information, it would be anonymized. We would not tie it to specific addresses. Because I'm not a lawyer. I don't even hang around with lawyers usually. But I don't want this to constrain anyone because it might impact, say, some future home sale or something like that. That's up to them whether they want to share. I just want to get the data together because I honestly don't know. I will tell you, I'm on a 60-foot well. I just paid about $400 to have a full run of testing done. I dumped another couple thousand into treatment. I'm almost there, but all I did was buy 5 to 10 years. You know, I did this previously in 2010. So wells are expensive, even though it seems like it's free water, but they really are expensive. And the health benefits or the health risks are always there. I have some, I won't go into it, but you know, that's part of the discussion is we need to really understand, not just, hey, I have a 100-foot well. I don't want city water because it'll cost me this money. That well won't last forever, you know. So that's it. Thank you.
John, I have a question. What's the date of the gala?
April.
April 18th.
And the Pine Card Derby?
We don't have a date yet, but we probably, yeah, it was in April last year. We're a little late in scheduling it, but it'll probably be hopefully in April.
Hey, John, I'm gonna tell Tony what you said about lawyers.
You know. There's really a plug at the president.
Now. I was more interested in the survey of the wells, so that's great information. Thank you. And I do agree it should be anonymized. Yeah, because we would have no reason to have that information here or anybody to collect it. I have had some meetings with Kane DuPage Soil Water Conservation District, and they're very interested in that area. So that information might also be helpful for them, or we can also see if they have any records that they have through Kane County, probably the digging of wells.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, thank you. That was what comments. Agenda. All right, we are on to the trustee reports. We'll go through each of the reports. Let's go ahead and just address business, but then if you want to, if you can bring up your, not bring up, but pull out your list that I gave you at the last meeting and just, we'll discuss some of the notes with it. Now everybody has a complete list of all of the items that were listed. So if you want to make some notes along. Roads, parks and streets, trustee Canelli.
All right, so I'm going to lead off with a trivia question here. Who wants to tell me how many miles of streets we have in Sleepy Hollow?
Oh, Bill, trustee Hopkins.
And your answer is?
22.
Oh, you're very close, but you're a little high, 21.27. But good enough to win. And that includes Pinecone Estates. And I only know that because as we're thinking about longer term projects, be interesting to know how many miles of roads we have to maintain, as well as Anne Marie pointed out, between our 3 public works people, keep them clear of snow and ice. So quite a bit of work for a group of 3. The Bonkoski bike path, which I've talked to you about, I provided West Dundee with our engineering drawings and some cost estimates. And I did receive a response on the 16th of this month from West Dundee stating that they will be sharing those documents with their engineering firm. And they anticipate doing some work in that area. Is it Fairview Hills or that subdivision over there? And that it would incorporate that work that they're planning this spring along with completing that bike path. So we're making some progress. Just wanted to update you there.
Here, it's
I'm
coming
sorry?
spring and summer.
They're talking about doing that in the spring.
Okay, thanks.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up is the road budget for 2026. My assumption at this point is that we're probably going to have a very not a robust budget for addressing roads, and probably referring back to the money we get through our fuel taxes. But it seems like we'll probably be looking at a nominal fund for this year, and probably having to address the bigger challenges down the road. The water main break that took place on Hazel Court meant that we had to tear up the street, and that street will be repaired in the spring when weather allows. And despite the weather, or when weather allows, Public Works is doing some cold patch repairs and doing some maintenance with seal crack as they're allowed to. That's it for roads. On the park side, I put together a plan for making Sabatino more ADA compliant. The cost estimates are put together and on the worksheet. Fortunately, the labor can be done by our Public Works group, so we're pretty much talking about material cost. During the week, I happened to come across an article in the Daily Herald regarding the Illinois DNR, along with the open space land, is they have grant money available. They've already issued what's about $60 million worth of grants. I'm going to be looking into what is required and if what opportunities might exist for us. But it was interesting to see that towns like a lot of towns around us, Naperville, Algonquin, Prospect Heights, have received millions in funding. So I'll definitely be looking into that and update you in the future. Rhonda, I sent you an email earlier today regarding environment for the parks. So you and I are going to have to kind of talk about what is all entitled and what that entails. So kind of put our heads together. But you and I will talk about that in the near future. That is what I have to report today.
Thank you. Bill, I'd like to put one more thing on your radar. I sent an email to, I think it was you, Chief, and Eugene earlier today. Rhonda, this also applied for you. ComEd, they have up to $10,000 grants. Their deadline is March 13th of this year. I think that's a good way for us, everybody that I've spoken to, so it's kind of a good way to start getting into the grant game, for lack of a better phrase. They're less cumbersome than some of the others. And so for ComEd, there's the Green Region Grant, and then for Bill, Green Region would also apply with parks, but then Powering Safe Communities is more some road stuff. And I went through the list. One of the best things I would suggest to anybody is go through the list of the winners from the prior years, because I tend to assume we won't qualify for certain things. And as Bill said, Village of Algonquin was on there. They have an outstanding watershed program. In fact, Bill, for speaking to Algonquin with respect to the grants, going right down the name, Michelle Zimmerman. She's the Assistant Public Works Director over in Algonquin, and she's been just instrumental in the past 12, 20 years of building up their watershed thing and navigating the grants and kind of figuring that out. So she'd be a really good resource. And in fact,
Did you say she's in Public Works?
she's the Assistant Director of Public Works.
Okay, thank you.
President Bo, I've written grants for that particular program, a successful one where I came from.
Oh, wonderful. And talk to Chief, please.
Great.
I got some ideas already.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Trustee Kennelly. Any questions from the other trustees for Kennelly before we let him sit back?
Are you available Saturday?
By phone, yes.
Okay.
All right, great. So that's finance, Trustee Hoff.
Okay, where do I begin?
Busy?
Every day I study this, I learn something more every day. And something that Kyle Killinger had sent me that took me a few days to get through was a really good article from the American Waterworks Association. The article is Buried No Longer. And what this country is facing right now, it's not just Sleepy Hollow. They're calling it the dawn of the replacement era. The whole country is aging as far as their water mains that are underground. Nobody wants to think about it. People certainly don't want to pay for it and replacement, but that is a push come to shove for Little Sleepy Hollow right now and many others throughout. So I tabulated all of our water main breaks since 2020 till now. We've had 47 of them. I can't put my hand right on that document at the moment, but we've spent $300,000 on fixing those water mains. They average about $6,500 to repair. And that doesn't include what we're fixing for frozen valves or fire hydrants or everything else that $30 demand fee is really paying for right now.
Yeah.
But what's really on the agenda that I've studied this quite a bit. Like Bill said, we have 20, I heard from Jeff Steele, we have 22 miles of road, including Pinecone. Pinecone, Rainbow, Sharon does not have water. So let's take off a few miles. We'll call it 19 miles. 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. Okay, so let's just do a little math here. 19 miles times 5,280 is 100,320 feet of water main. Estimate. Pretty good estimate, okay? Today's dollars to replace that is 350 to 500. Okay, I'll go low. I'll say 350. That's 35 to $40 million. Whether or not we take out the people that are unwell, which I would prefer to do if we can find a way to do it. The total limit that Sleepy Hollow in our financial statement is allowed to borrow is 12 million. Put that in your head as a perspective, okay? Anything we finance today is 4.5% to 5% interest. Okay. I've kind of exhausted any of the free money that I've been able to determine is not going to come our way because of our median household income is 147,000 and change in Sleepy Hollow. We're not desperate yet, but we do have some risk. Hillcrest being number one risk in my estimation, and talking with Kyle and beating that dead horse for the last 90 days. We've had 8 water main breaks there. The water main break that happened the day after the finance committee met to talk about this was on entrance to Hazel Court. That 12-foot section has had 4 water main breaks. So there's 4 clamps that are fixing that. I drove out there the day of the break. I took pictures, took a video before it was dug and when it was completed and with the clamp on it. That was a rust hole in that water main. Okay, it's iron. That ground is very unstable. It's always wet and it's rusty. Okay, so the fear, I don't want to strike fear in anybody, but I think we need to face some potential facts. If that were to break away in a big way, we would spend a lot of money in an emergency to fix that. We would rather do it the long planned way where we have some control over this. So my estimation and all that I've learned so far, not saying I know everything by a long shot, Hillcrest is what we need to focus on, and I would like to get it done this year. Hillcrest is 2,760 feet at $350 a foot. That's $966,000. We've been talking with finance committee and we have some reserves that we could take half from the water fund. We'd have to borrow from the sewage fund to pay for this year. But we are going to have an announcement for the real near foreseeable future and how we need to repay that to those funds. And to also have 2 additional projects. So my theory is we need to do something now. We cannot wait any farther. We're just wasting money. And I didn't even talk about the loss of water every time we have a water main break. We still have to pay for that water from Elgin. We have nobody to bill it to. Our efficiency on the east side, I have that report handy. It's much lower than it is on the west side. And it's probably to do with the fire department, with all the testing and so on and so forth that they do throughout the year. And the water main breaks that predominantly are in the east side. So I'm just going to tell you, be prepared. The water bill's going up. Now we have to decide as a board how much and how soon we want to pay for these improvements. But first one's Hillcrest. We're going to wait a year to pay it all back to ourselves. In 2 years, we're going to do Winmore from Thoroughbred up to Glen Oak. And then the third one is to be determined because what maybe we don't know yet today may occur 4 years from now or 5 years when we're going to be collecting that money. But the idea is we would rather, my opinion, self-fund this through the water bill than to finance it and pay some bank 4 or 5% and spend $1 million or $1.8 million on finance charges. And I don't want to go into debt for this village for 20 years. So it's either we face the music, but we've got very large needs from the police department as well. And we have roads that are in need of being replaced. 22 lovely miles there. So, but if you had to prioritize, I think water is number one. You have a house and you don't have water, you can't live there. As a board, that is the most important thing that we should do as adults, is to recognize that fact and take action so we don't have a catastrophe down the road. The water lines on the east side are 68 years old. And I've been looking at the three options of what kind of materials we want to use. And I got very excited after I read some information last night about HDPE. It's high density polyethylene. And there's some pros and cons with that. But because that's very moist, unstable soil on Hillcrest, I'm getting warmed up to the idea, and so is Kyle, that probably is the option we should really be focusing on. And it's cheaper. You can bore it instead of dig the whole side of the road out. So you can go into people's
We're
driveways.
getting beyond finance.
So I'll shut up,
No, that's wonderful. Thank you.
but I could talk about it for hours. Billy, I would really like to sit and meet with you.
Wonderful.
And I'd have some insights.
That would be great.
Help you figure out what you need to
Can I
do.
ask a question?
Please.
Can
Thank
I
you.
ask a question?
Yep.
When is the drop dead date? That we have to, like,
If we want to get anything,
Start for that right now.
well,
we cannot wait
We need some more.
until March.
okay, because that's what Jeff Steele said.
No, excuse me, sorry, guys, I spoke with engineer Steele just before this. The timeline that was given at the finance meeting was if we started this process now, this is how long it would take. He didn't, no, we don't have to do it in order to break ground before winter. He understood the question was, how soon would we have to start if we wanted to have this done this year? So he was breaking out the timeline. He wanted to clarify, he was not saying we need to do this now, so we're breaking ground by winter. Waiting until potentially the following spring is not. And let's,
It's your call,
I,
Courtney. We need to decide at the February meeting, one way or another, if we're gonna have any construction in 2026.
I agree.
If we wait until June, July, we won't be done by the time December rolls.
Well, and then we end up taking the chance that there's gonna be no water. And I hate to say that to people, but that's, I don't want that chance. I don't want to end up in the news like some towns that have no water
okay.
when we do it.
Excuse me.
I'm just.
So I would like to clarify, we are not at risk of not having water in the village. For all of you listening, please, we're not at that risk. Yes, Hillcrest is very patched. Maria Court, Hazel Court, those are more patches than original pipe, I'm pretty sure, from what I remember from Kyle. It is absolutely urgent. I'm not suggesting that we're kicking it down the road, but if we wanted construction happening this year by 2026, yes, we have to start that come March for the paperwork purposes and the permit purposes, but let's.
I have the timeline if you want me to discuss it.
I do not, thank you. I have this,
Good call.
I know. Thank you, trustee Hoff. I have the timeline as well. So we will continue
You should
discussing
compare
it.
notes.
Are you finished? Thank you. We'll continue discussing it. It does need to go back with finance. We need to consider all of the costs that are gonna be faced by the residents and the village over the next year. For some people where, yes, we're gonna have to tighten our belts and make some payments that we weren't necessarily expecting, but I want to make sure that we're not going to be forcing people out of the village with the extra fees that we're coming up with or extra tax payments. So that's why I just don't want to alarm everybody up. Let's figure it out, figure out a solid number before we start scaring people that they don't have any water. Thank you. Anything else from finance?
That's it.
All right, any other questions? All right. Moving on from finance, water and sewer, which we basically just covered, and trustee McGuire is not here. I did add to hers. I wanted a question about the Maria Court as well to find out, now that it's been patched, about the integrity of something that is almost all patches. Does that mean it's at a greater risk, or is it more secure for moving forward? So I'll have her reach out to Kyle, and I can also talk to you. All right, trustee Diatley is unfortunately out of the country. So we don't even have him on Zoom for police and public safety. I'll just address really quickly and then I'll turn to the chief. He did stress his support, trustee Hoff, of the water main project and also his interest in increasing the police and staff fees with the extra surplus, or the surplus that was in the police budget. Chief, do you have any comments with the list, the police and public safety list?
I mean, I really only have a 1 and a 2, and you can, they're pretty much interchangeable.
Yeah,
So
salaries and pension.
salaries and the retirement are
Oh, and the
interchangeable.
retirement one, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically all we have on the list.
Mhm. Buildings and environment, trustee Schatzberger?
I have no report, but, regarding the goals and everything,
Mhm.
I've. As much as I love the environment and I wanna, focus on getting rid of invasives and everything like that. I think our goal, our top priority needs to be working on the greenways and the drainages. And I do know that we have that issue at Hilltop and Gale.
Mhm.
I do believe that, now that the neighbors have come, if the neighbor has agreed, I believe Public Works can help us out with kind of clearing that drainage issue where it's overbuilt in that one spot.
Yeah.
But just over the last couple of weeks, driving around and checking out, various areas, you can see where people have, the culverts are not draining properly, and there are some issues like in the backyards where what used to be original drainage into the swales has been built up. I think that's something that we might need to consider addressing, that falls under the ordinance of 2022-866-2022, section 6-2-3. For culverts, driveways, and drainways and drainage easements. Maybe getting something out on the website or Facebook about, the responsibilities of the property owners. So that people, people move in, they don't realize the reason why there's that little bit of a dip in their yard.
Yeah. So maybe we could work on an education pamphlet, let people know
Something
that.
like that,
So if you go and fix your swale, what's that gonna do to your neighbors and so forth?
yeah.
Yep.
Cause especially the resident in question, I can see where there's some grading issues.
Okay. Are there any areas around the village that, like, we know, I know we addressed it during the campaign, too. Saddle Club and Deer Creek both have some drainage issues up there. We know down here on the east side of the village, down in the valley, there's drainage. Anything else that came to your attention?
Over on Timber, there's some issues, and then, Rainbow has some, but not as much, and Willow has a few. Need to do a little bit more driving throughout, but yeah, I think we just need to educate everybody. The importance of that. And then, of course, I would still like to put together some timelines, and I'll talk with Bill on, Saturday about what we can do for some of the spring planting and, seed collection and stuff like that.
And I'll give you a name after the meeting. A resident came and met last week, I think it was, and they were very interested in helping out create a volunteer list and actually like start creating it and keeping track of who's available for what, all of those fun things. So we have some you can delegate with.
Okay,
All right. Anything else?
that's all I have.
No. All right, building and zoning, trustee Thomas.
I do want to, as Ann said, thank Public Works. I was out on Saturday when the roads were so bad and Sleepy Hollow was all plowed and salted, and 72 and the tollway were not. So kudos to our public works, and I did see them when I came home later at night, and the police were even out watching things, so, you know, everybody was involved, and so it was good, because I did have to drive on all those roads, and it was not fun. I was happy to get back in Sleepy Hollow. The gala, as John Florence brought up, is gonna be April 18th at Moretti's. Details are being worked on. Eugene, I want to get with you to see if we can put a save the date on the water bill or so. I don't know how they did it last year. But I'll work with you on that. And then, John Florence is going to put together a QR code for everyone to, use for payment, right, John? Okay. And so all the details are being worked out. I'm working with John's wife, who's offered to help that, so I don't have to do it by myself. And I think I just heard Ann's name was. Somebody told me that. And then there's another friend of John's, Katie, right? But another possibility, so there will be several of us, so details to follow on that. Then on my list, I had there's on Stevens Court, there's an issue with a septic tank, which President Bo has been handling, so I would step away from it because I don't have any more of the details. I'm working with Eugene to we will be getting together to create a job description of what Sleepy Hollow needs for the building official. So we're gonna get together and work on that and look at who we can reach out to for staffing that, resources and ideas. As President Bo indicated, the P and Z meetings, we did decide to do 2 a month, but that is the second one will be an as needed basis. It's easier to cancel the second one than you have to post in all the details for that. And then I did meet in November or October with you in December with it was December 5th.
Yeah, I just have to look it up and put it on my list.
Okay. With Carpentersville. And so we did meet, and I was finally able to meet the gentleman who's handling all that, so a lot of what he said, I'll be following up to see where we stand on everything that they are Carpentersville is handling. And so that Sleepy Hollow can also get access to where we stand with the permits and the approvals on all of that, so. And let's see. And that's it.
Thank you. Some of the earlier ones that kind of just fell under president or with Eugene or Mark or clerk. Under general, everybody's familiar with the Gall property, or you may not know it as that. It's the property that's across from Sleepy Hollow over by Tartan's Glen. And some residents had gone out to a planning hearing for West Dundee. They're developing that area. So we've met with the residents there to kind of learn their interests and what they want to do with the property. So we're working with them. Under the next one I had there is an updating of a code enforcement ordinances over the winter, kind of a seasonal top 10. And I've talked to Trustee Kennelly. He's going to work with Code Enforcement Officer Fleck and the chief to come up with something we can give out quarterly, maybe on the website, of these are the top 10 items, kind of not saying these are the only items, but some top things to pay attention to, like snow levels or grass levels or what have you, and making sure that the actual language of the ordinance is enforceable and interpretable from Jeff Fleck's perspective. Eugene, Mark, and myself are going to work on looking into the update of the code of conduct. Some residents have raised some issues about absences, notifications, and phone use during the meetings. I'm a little hesitant to restrict cell phone usage. I understand appearances from your perspective that it looks like we're doing something else. Whenever I'm on my computer or my phone, it's literally to use another screen to look something up we're talking about, but I understand that that's based on trust and faith that we're doing our jobs. So we'll look into see if there's something we can do about cell phone usage. We also have lots of people at home that we're caring for, and so sometimes emergencies happen and. But well, I'm hearing your concerns. We'll look into it, please. We're also working on an organizational chart and updating our spending chart. That's Eugene and myself. The spending chart is just something standard of the limitations, but we need to adjust for inflation. And then the organizational chart, we just haven't done so since, we developed a village administrator. So we just want to clarify the roles and as we're going through the codes, or going through the day-to-day in the codes. I do have down here, I didn't have it on yours. We're looking to push up the draft agendas by Wednesday so that we have a little bit more interaction between the chief, Eugene, Mark, and myself before it gets published on Friday to the trustees. And I have a note on here that we're working towards publishing the agenda packets prior to the meeting this spring. One of the reasons I held off for so long is there's a lot I don't know to know yet. And I will admit, publishing this sort of stuff, I do want to be very open and transparent. Honestly, guys, it's a big vulnerable position to put myself in, and I appreciate your patience. It has been a little daunting at times, and then we were about to, and sure enough, we ended up putting in a confidential memo in the packet. So we're just about there. So thank you for your patience. We'll get everything sent out. And yeah, thank you to Eugene and to Jen for getting the Facebook post, and actually John Florence for getting us access to the Village of Sleepy Hollow's Facebook page. We started working on that back in December, getting access so that we could try and launch by the new year, and I'm happy we were able to. So good job, thank you. And and I did have some ideas on here, and this is just general communications, marketing, outreach, and then the service club. There's certainly things I'd like to do for the village, but we need to figure out if it's the village's purview or if it's something that we can have an idea for and support, but hand off to the service club or other residents who are willing to take the helm. If we do the market again, I'd love it if we had a table out there each event with myself and maybe either staff member or a trustee, just an ask the village type kind of table so that we're much more physically accessible in such a small community. We've got the village website and Facebook going. It will be a transition, but I'm hoping we will get much more fluent and regular on there. And then we can work on finessing the style. I want us to start getting more content out so you guys are getting information, and then we'll work on the aesthetics and user-friendly capabilities. And also now that we're starting to get our calendar together and know what's coming up and what events we have, I'd like for us to use the Elgin Area Tourism with Chris Lee Murphy and John. That's actually the name I mentioned when we were at the service club meeting. I think there'll be a real help for us to get our events out, as well as Bill Huff, the Northern King County Chamber of Commerce. Two really good organizations that can kind of help Sleepy Hollow come out of our little secluded area. And then I'm also going to work with Melissa and John about being able to have some more information up on our screens and shareable in the streaming and for those who are viewing at home, so that you're not hearing just the numbers, but you can actually follow along with us. So we are working on that. It's just, it's been a lot in transition. I think that was it on there. Any other questions from trustees, Chief, John, Eugene? Oh, I'm sorry, and Service Club. It was a great meeting, and I actually he's not here, but Rich English, I want to thank him. He watched the meeting and he came up with his own list of goals for Service Club of prioritizing and figuring out. And that's something that I'm really encouraged. I know that sometimes getting all this talking out is frustrating and it makes these meetings longer. But in that Service Club meeting, there are 6 items on there that they grouped into 2 groups. And I had some contacts about grants that actually are much more accessible when you partner with others. So a nonprofit organization like the Service Club and a municipality, we would have a better chance of getting a grant than just one or the other going in for it. So there were some things they wanted to do that they didn't necessarily have to raise funds for. We could actually go in and see if we can't get grants or match it. I think that kind of collaboration is really what I'm looking for in the village. There's a lot of ideas that people have and resources and knowledge and experience. So I just want to make sure that we're talking to each other. I think Bill Hoff has learned more than he cares to know about water and sewage. But it's also talking to the other people and finding out what they know. And we've gone through about 4 iterations of this financing for the for the water main project. It's not an easy fix, and it's getting the little ideas that Eugene gets in his treasurer's report, or another idea that the chief had with doing a grant in a different capacity. That all gives us more information to do things better for the village, so thank you. All right, off of all of the trustee reports, there's no old business. Let's go into new business and then we'll wrap this up. First item is discussion and motion to approve the potential sale of village-owned parcel. In your agenda packet, there's a memo in there, and this is about the Hilltop Lane. It actually is a cutoff of timber. Trustee Thomas and Eugene, if you'd like to speak to it, I know you two were.
At this point, there's I'm not looking for a final decision. I just want a consensus of the board if we want to consider doing this, because there's many steps in the process. And if there's no interest in the board on doing it, I don't wanna, go through the expense to find out that, we're not interested in doing it. Now, the first thing I did was want to make sure that the person who wanted to purchase the property was actually interested in it, in giving them an estimate of how much it would be. So now it's on the board. The situation is that, I believe they call it Hilltop Lane. They had originally intended it to go into another street, but it ended up just stopping, and there is one driveway that comes off of it. But yet the village has to maintain this street. And the homeowner is interested in purchasing the street. And then it would actually kind of become part of their driveway, and then it would no longer be our responsibility to plow or maintain. It wouldn't be the entire parcel, we would still keep an easement on that. This property would be of absolutely no benefit to anybody else except this particular resident. So
Is just a utility easement, is it?
we would have a utility easement, yeah.
Where would that be located?
It's
It would be on the one side of the driveway, and the opposite side of where the house is.
Houses.
where all
Yeah.
that,
And you mentioned that the village maintains that drive.
Yes, we have to we don't maintain the driveway, we maintain that section of the road because it is our road.
Are you talking like at the top? of
Well,
the
no, it comes off of.
timber?
There's no actual
of
road.
Tim- right,
There's
it
no
comes up-
road,
Yeah, it
cause
comes off of timber and then it goes.
up
But
there,
it's just a drain, it's a concrete drainage, so there's no
no,
road there.
there's,
no,
no.
No, there's
Asphalt,
an asphalt.
Oh.
Yes,
and
and
then it,
their driveway connects to the asphalt. Is the way I
yes,
understand it.
yeah, and there,
Yes.
but it's all dirt and grass and trees, and it's like,
overgrown.
it's
and-
overgrown, like the village doesn't really.
We don't really maintain it the way it should be.
Correct, because it doesn't go anywhere.
Well,
Well, they can't,
Just being honest.
they can't maintain it because there's really nothing, it's like a dirt.
Yeah, and then the asphalt where, what was supposed to be the road is up at the top of their property.
Closer to Saddle Club?
Well, there's houses where Hilltop was originally,
Yeah,
now
okay.
there's houses, so it goes up. And then there's houses, and all up here by the houses is all overgrown and dirt and like.
So they've actually been maintaining it. They've been cutting the grass, they've been using it, and so,
you really can't see it on the map because it's all covered by trees. I think.
Right.
So I'm looking at a different map to see if I can. get better.
I mean, I've been out there, Rhonda, you've been out there.
yeah.
Jeff Steele's been out there.
Here it is. It kind of comes up between 211 and 213.
Yeah, from what I understand is that it's kind of like on a hill, so it drops down. And that where it drops down is where that easement would be.
Yeah, and so their front door faces that, what would have been the street.
Oh, this little picture. Okay, thank you. I thought that was.
Yeah.
Can I see it?
Yeah, this is from the Dundee Township assessor site, so it's this little stretch right here. So this was supposed to be a road that would go all the way through, but it didn't. For whatever reason, they never continued it, so their driveway.
It was supposed to be, is my understanding, that was supposed to be the original hilltop,
Yeah.
and then it
I
never
think it's
happened.
I would just say that we have to keep an easement there for utilities.
Right.
My concerns easement, yeah.
I don't see us ever putting a road in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there
Yeah,
is the
because the
easement right
houses-
next to, you know, that.
Even on the side of that road.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
The right
from,
side.
from what
I
on
got
the
rid of my-
opposite side of where the driveway is, it's kind of, my understanding is, it's like a ditch where.
Yeah, it's,
It just,
it's
it
like a
drops off to the
cement,
neighbors.
it's really weird. It's almost
Slow
like,
down the water flow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yes,
that's
exactly.
completely overgrown.
And that's our property.
Yeah.
We would potentially sell it to them.
I mean, not the drainage.
Not
Not the
the,
drainage.
not the easement, just this.
just the
patch of-
asphalt portion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then because
And
nothing will ever.
All the
be
way
built.
up or just to the end of their back of their lot?
Probably just all, as far as the asphalt goes.
I see. That's not very large at all.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, nothing that the
Nothing-
village could ever
They
build
can't
on
do
it
anything,
or.
they keep, because there's
Yeah.
houses at the top of this.
There's a subdivision now on the
Can't
opposite
squeeze
side.
that.
No.
No.
God bless you, want to go in between the two houses.
And I think it's good drainage too. Obviously, a lot of water's going down.
Mhm.
If they go that cement. Stopping mechanism.
All right. So we're not doing a vote for this, but does anybody have objections if we pursued this sale
So
with
what
the
what you
property?
would be doing is seeing what the cost, like,
We would follow the steps that were in that memo.
okay.
We'd have to develop a cost, we'd have to, get it surveyed and stuff like that, before we can convey it.
And that survey, all of that would be on the resident though,
Yeah. they're gonna
or
have to
incorporated into the
incorporate it
cost
into the
of.
cost of, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Because they are interested.
Yeah.
Trustee Canelli, any comments, questions?
No, I
concerns?
was just looking at I looked at street view here. I other than just how we determine the cost, for an unusual piece of property would probably be the best place to start to determine whether this resident is in the ballpark.
All right. I think you just, okay.
Okay, so then we'll proceed to look at that then.
I'm passing. Are we gonna vote to discuss for?
It's by consensus, we're gonna continue to pursue sale of the land.
I
Yep.
have one more question.
Mhm.
So if, but I'm just kind of throwing this out there. If we spend the money to have it surveyed and all that,
We'll get an
And-
escrow.
okay,
Yeah, we'll collect an escrow so that this way we've got, we're not gonna spend this money and then have them turn around and say, oh, no, I'm not interested.
Do you want to discuss section B, discussion and motion to approve potential lawsuit for recovery of costs?
At this point, I wanna, I'd like to put a hold on that. His wife reached out to me by email and then he called me today. And, I had sent the invoice to him in June, and this is the first contact I have had from them. And, apparently there was some miscommunication. And that was part of the problem. So I would like to have further discussions with him before, we move forward with the lawsuit.
We'll table this. And we'll just
Well, we just take a look.
take this.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to table this until the next meeting?
So move.
second,
Moved by Schatzberger, seconded by Thomas. Comments, questions, discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Trustee Hoff,
Aye.
trustee Canelli,
Aye.
trustee Schatzberger,
Aye.
trustee Thomas.
I,
4 in favor, all in favor, no opposed, motion passes. Thank you. Next. All right, and then discussion and motion to approve a 3-month grace period for giving penalties for work performed without a permit. This was an idea that we brought before the P and Z Commission this past week. It's one that we had discussed, trustee Cannelli, trustee Thomas, trustee Hoff, myself when we were campaigning prior to the election. And we've been meaning to do it earlier, but with all of the differences and just kind of shifting in our building department, we thought the new year was a good time to start that. So what we'd like to offer is we understand from residents that we are strong, independent individuals in this community. And some people have taken the liberty of doing their own repairs, and I'm sure they've checked everything out, but we're looking out for the safety of the residents and your homes. So we would like to ask you to come out within the next 3 months. We'll start at February 1st, going until the end of April. And you can come in, apply for a work permit for work that has been done in the past. You will not be double charged. Now, admittedly, if you did this a long time ago, odds are it may not be applicable to the current code, but we're not going to double charge you for that inspection. And one thing that I think trustee Thomas and I've really enjoyed with working with George over in Carpentersville is he's not out to catch you. As he likes to say, I am here for the safety of the residents. I'm here for the safety of the home. I want to make sure that the people who sold you this and sold you their services were good and did things the right way. So if there are problems and inconsistencies or non-conformance, he's not gonna have you rip out the whole room. My understanding from him, as well as other people who've worked with him, is he works with you, helps find reasonable solutions so that you're not in a really tight spot. So, do I have a motion from the board to give a 3-month grace period for giving penalties?
So moved.
Second,
Second,
thank you. Moved by Schatzberger, seconded by Bill Cannelli. Comments, questions, discussion?
so the 3 months is 3 months past behind that have already, the past 3 months.
No, the upcoming 3 months, so as of February 1st through the end of April, people can come in and request a work permit. It can be inspected, checked out.
So regardless of how long ago they did work without a permit,
Well, we discussed whether or not we should put a time frame down, but it's really hard to pinpoint. I mean, yes, some stuff will obviously be older, but it would be hard to. I don't know, the commission thought that it would be difficult to pinpoint a date, so we just thought we'd leave it open-ended.
well, I'm fine with it because it gets us what we want, is to make sure that it's done properly.
I'm looking for compliance and safety, yeah. Trustee Thomas, did you have any thoughts? You're commission, so.
I just think it's gonna be hard to do because there's gonna be people that did stuff 10 years ago or 15 years ago that they aren't really gonna come in and try to get a permit for something they did 15 years ago that was in compliance then, and there was nobody looking. I just think it's gonna be difficult to do. But
I'm seeing this as something more
recent, and that's what I thought should be, is for like the last year when we had things going on and several issues that I think
Would you like to
My
amend it for a
suggestion?
timeline?
yeah, I would like to amend it for like the year 2020. What slash?
24 to 25.
24 to 25, yeah. I think that would be easier to do and monitor than,
I'm sorry, you kind of cut out there earlier. Did you say 2024 and 5 or just 2025?
2024 through 25 or 2020?
2025. I think that would be easier to monitor.
So for any work done without a work permit since January 1 of 2025.
I mean, you could do 2024 and 25, and that gives people, it's just easier dates to look at than suggesting going back to
5 years.
5 years or 6 years.
In no way am I thinking that we're gonna get complete compliance in this.
Right.
I just,
Right.
it just seemed like a bit of a Band-Aid that we could use to help bring people back into the fold, maybe also help kind of show that there's a we're listening and that we have a great inspector out there who's gonna work with them. I think it will depend, our neighborhood is very big on word of mouth, so if you've had a positive experience, which gotten a lot of positive feedback from people, please share it with your neighbors so that they're not as afraid or think that it is a gotcha moment. We're not trying to catch people in bad acts. Originally I had down there in 2025, there was some discussion about how could you actually monitor or enforce that, and so we thought just leave it open-ended, not so much to catch all the ones in the past, but so that's where the wordage came up with. Trustee Hopkinson, you had something to say earlier.
I think it's a very positive idea to come up with. But for the number that we actually do, I'll be surprised if it's double digits. Just my kind. I hope
So
they all.
if we
I
get
hope they all
one,
come.
is it gonna be worth it? Let's make sure that they're in
Well,
compliance.
I don't know what our investment is on something like this.
Right.
It's just
If they come forward and we get an inspector out, hallelujah, that's a great thing.
that's kind of all I'm looking for.
So,
I mean, the double fee was just
Worth
an
a try.
administrative thing, so it's not, we're not suffering a financial loss here. Carpenters will be paid for it. If we get one person to kind of make sure they're in compliance. I lived down the street from a year ago when that fire just came blooming out of the garage, and that work had been done all without a permit. So that kind of was part of the impetus of, or the inspiration for this.
Maybe make it 24 and 25. Okay. Just make it the last 2 years.
Last 2 years.
Just and see what happens. I mean, I know, but I think it's, I don't know. I don't think we should go back or can go back any further.
I don't think we should go further than that.
So 24, 25.
See what happens.
Thoughts from you, trustee Canelli? 2024, 25?
That's fine. It's whether people are gonna come forward or not, so I don't think it really matters.
It's done.
I would think that 1 year is fine because that's when we had most of our interruptions in that department.
and it would be under our new lower rate, correct?
Yes.
Just clarify.
No, that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure too, was
Yeah.
that I wanted it under the new rates.
So we're contracted under. All right, so it's a motion to approve so this was Schatzberger and Canelli originally. Approve a 3-month grace period for giving penalties for work performed without a work permit from January 1, 2024 through current, give them January as well.
December 31st, 2025.
Now I feel a little finicky if they didn't do something in January.
Well,
And it is just the month.
but the thing is that times have changed, so they've had no excuse since
Right.
October.
Correct,
True.
correct.
All right, so giving penalties for work performed without a work permit from January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2025. Are you guys okay with the amendment, or Canelli and Schatzberger?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Comments, questions, discussion?
How are we gonna announce this to residents?
It'll be on the village website and Facebook, village Facebook.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Maybe we could
Put it on the
put
water.
it on the water bill. Yeah, because that'll be going out. Can we get it on for next month? All
Yeah, it'll be February.
right, thank you, Bill. We'll get that on the water bill as well for the February bill.
Good.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Hoff,
Aye.
trustee Schatzberger,
I
trustee Thomas.
Aye.
Trustee Canelli.
Aye.
All in favor, no opposed, motion passes. We do not have reason for executive board tonight. Does anybody else have any other business to bring before the board?
no
Does anybody have any emotions to bring before the board?
motion to adjourn.
There we go. Second,
Second.
moved by Schatzberger, seconded by Thomas. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Canelli,
Aye.
trustee Hoff,
Aye.
trustee Schatzberger,
Aye.
trustee Thomas.
Aye.
All in favor, no opposed, motion passes, meeting adjourned at 9:08. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.